Hello and welcome to Talking with Teresa Lynn. Today we're going to read a blog that I wrote in 2017. It's called Worst Year Ever. It was based on literally the worst year of my life and ultimately one of my most popular blogs. And the blog gained even more readers in 2020. And I think that is because all of us can identify with difficult seasons. We have all had what I refer to as seasons of Job, where sometimes things just seemed hopeless. And I pray that you're not in one of those seasons right now. And if you are, may this blog help to remind you that there is always hope in Christ, even when it feels like He has abandoned you. And so, again, this blog is called Worst Year Ever. And it starts off, worst year ever. I wish that was an exaggeration. It was without question one of the darkest, most challenging years of my life. I was slammed in what seemed like every area. My career did a crazy roller coaster flip before it crashed. My personal life broke my heart. My financial life followed suit. And the absolute worst of it all, I felt disconnected from God. My faith was intact, but it was shaken. I've been an insurance agent my entire adult life. My dream was to own an agency. Naturally, when I had the opportunity to do so, I took it. Sounds like it was euphoric. And it was, but more like the kind of euphoric you feel when you're tripping, and the consequences were just as bad as if I'd been on illicit drugs. I left a well-paying professional position to open an insurance agency. Good intentions. I was even calling it my work for God. But it didn't work out. The agency closed in 2017. And if you talk about a perfect storm, there was a perfect storm of reasons why. Many of them were not related to the agency. And it is a story that I'm not quite ready to share, but it was a nightmare of Nightmare on Elm Street proportions. My personal life broke my heart, and it was part of the driving force behind what happened with the agency. Um, there were many days that I spent just crying on my floor. If you know who Danny Goki is, or if you've not ever heard his song "Tell Your Heart to Beat Again," maybe you should listen to it. It explains this better than I can. The song says, "You're shattered like you've never been before. The life you knew in 1,000 pieces on the floor. And words fall short in times like these, when the world drives you to your knees. You think you're never going to get back to the you that used to be." That pretty much explained exactly how I was feeling when I wrote the blog. I felt disconnected from God. I mean, I am a child of God, so where is He? I've always believed I had God's favor and provision, so where was it at? The word says He will never leave or forsake me. I know I must believe it, but it just left me asking God, where are you? It didn't feel like He was there. God answered me. I was there. I was in your friends and family. I know you like to feel independent. You like to believe you can do it. I needed you to know that you need me. You also needed the people that I blessed you with. I didn't create you to walk through life alone. How many times and how many ways did your friends and family show you my hands and feet? And then He said, I was there. Yes, you felt shattered. Yes, you hurt. Yes, you even mourned. Do you remember? years before when you didn't think you had a heart? Do you remember when you cared about people from a distance and you weren't sure you were capable of feeling love? I needed you to experience feelings. I needed you to see the bigger picture. This isn't all about you. I needed you to be able to be hurt and still love. Love is more than a feeling, and it doesn't work the way your culture wants you to believe. Love is long suffering. And he went on to say, your security is not money. It is not your career. It is not even in your own abilities. I gave you those things as gifts. I've taught you this lesson before, and you needed a refresher. My gifts to you are for my kingdom. You cannot be selfish with them. And then he said, my child, look over your year. You're focused on darkness. Look for the light. As I sit here and I reflect on the past 12 months, I do see light. A lot of it, actually. I see my birthday with my friends. I see my son out with his friends having a good time. I see meals, friends, Stephen ministry, kids in my yard, my church, my family, holiday traditions, concerts, my son, hikes, weddings, fairs, and so many events. Smiles, friends. I see my people. I see it. I see the light. The light is in God's people. God's lesson didn't end there. Yes, child, you made mistakes. I know this year has been hard, but it could have been worse. I was protecting you. I was teaching you. I blessed you during the storm. I gave you what you wanted in your heart. You wanted to travel. You wanted to run. I let you do that, and I brought you back. I provided you food and shelter. Yes, I used my people. You needed to be humbled, and they needed to see your weaknesses. Your strength is and always has been in me alone. He went on to explain, I let you go work at Cheddar's for a couple of months because you used to love serving. It reminded you of who you were. It reminded you of days that you spent asking me to let you have a career in business, of the times you wished to own a company, and of the days when nobody believed you could do it. I reminded you that I have given you everything you ever asked me for. When you got it, it didn't feel the way you thought it would feel, but I gave you exactly what you asked me for. I have never left you. I love you, my child. And finally, I heard Jesus say, daughter, it is time to stop running. It is time to accept your calling. You know what to do. Walk in the vocation that I have called you to. I will restore you, but you must do this my way. Be of good cheer. I want you to have peace. Be courageous. I am with you. I am with you. Who can be against you? And again, that was my blog called Worst Year Ever, written in 2017, late 2017. Gained a lot of resurgence in 2020, or a lot of readers in 2020. And it stands true today. It's a reminder that God has created all of us with a unique identity and with a purpose. And I do know what my purpose is, what my calling is. And I'm going to use the words that God gives me to fulfill my calling. I know who I am in Christ. I know that God is with me, and I know that I will face storms and probably more seasons of Job, but I know that nothing can come against me that will harm me because God is with me, and there is always hope in Christ. And if you are going through a season of Job, I hope that you have that hope and that you hang on to that even when you don't feel it, because feelings can be very deceptive. And if you don't know your identity in Christ, I pray that you seek it and that you find it and that you go after whatever it is that God has called you to with the entirety of your heart. That's it for today's episode of Talking with Teresa Lynn.